Tonight we'll go as follows. We'll have 4 reports. First, we'll hear from Doug Conway, our supervisory committee chair on the committee. Then we will have a report by Kurt Gifford. He's our board treasurer. Following Kurt, we'll hear from our CEO, Craig Gummel. And following Craig, I, Thane Robinson, will give the board report. Doug.
(2025) Supervisory Committee Report. Beehive Federal Credit Union Supervisory Committee Annual Report, March 19th, 2025. The Supervisory Committee oversees the audits to ensure compliance is adhered to with the governing laws, regulations, and policies established by the Board of Directors. The committee's highest priority is to ensure members' assets are protected and safe through these audits. With the help of our accounting department and compliance personnel, we also perform regular internal audits to review procedures regarding day-to-day activities with a verbal report of the results presented to the board. In fiscal year 2024, the credit union surpassed $500 million in assets. This was a significant milestone and required us to have our first financial statement audit. We contracted with the CPA firm of Rudd & Company to perform this audit, which was completed in June of 2024 with minimal findings. The committee, along with the management team, have reviewed the audit reports and addressed all issues with the board of directors. We, the supervisory committee, appreciate your continued confidence in our oversight role. We also appreciate the support and cooperation we receive from the board of directors, management, and employees. It is our privilege to serve you. We are happy to conclude by stating we are confident that adequate controls are in place and that operations are sound. Committee members: Matt Nielsen, Chair; Robin Dunlop, Secretary; Rachel Toki; Doug Conway; Barrett Wilcox. Thank you.
Thank you for your membership in Beehive Federal Credit Union. Here are a few highlights of our successes in 2024. Total assets of the credit union as of year-end 2024 were $604.2 million. This is an increase of $6.2 million over the previous year. 2024 was a difficult year for many financial institutions, mostly due to persistent high market interest rates, which increased the cost of attracting and keeping deposits more than the increase in revenues from loans and investments. Since lending is the primary purpose of credit unions, providing loans at a cost members can afford remains our top priority. Member deposits are the primary source for funding these loans, so pricing loans and deposits has been a difficult balancing act. I am pleased to report that despite these headwinds, in 2024, deposits increased by $38.2 million to $512 million, and loans to members totaled $460.6 million. This means that 90% of our deposits are working to meet the borrowing needs of our members. It is worth mentioning that Beehive began providing business loans to our members in 2016, and at 2024 year-end, business loans totaled $110.3 million, 24% of our total loan balances. In 2024, we added business account services, including a high-yield business savings account. These products are a significant benefit to our business members who previously had to go elsewhere for these services. For over 64 years, Beehive Federal Credit Union has been providing excellent, affordable financial products and services to our members. And in 2024, 534 new members joined our Beehive family, bringing total membership to 33,284. Net income for 2024 was $1.5 million, which increased our net worth ratio to 8.25%. Prior year-end net worth ratio was 8.08%. Net worth represents the safety net for the credit union, allowing us to continue to provide the financial services our members need, even in times of economic downturn or stress. A net worth ratio of 7% is generally considered well capitalized, and Beehive has held a net worth ratio above 7% for the last 20 years. Loan charge-offs can be a significant drag on earnings and financial stability. Our charge-off ratio for 2024 was 0.04%. This is significantly less than the industry standard and consistently lower than our peer average. The board and management team recognize that these loans are funded with your money, and we do everything we can to balance meeting the borrowing needs of the members with safeguarding your assets. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words tonight, and thank you for viewing Beehive's annual meeting. While there are a lot of important topics to cover, I want to limit and focus my comments this evening on financial scams aimed at our members and the best prevention measures. Last week, the FTC reported Americans lost $12.5 billion in 2024 from scams, a 25% increase over 2023. In the report, it identified the number one fraud continues to be the imposter scam. This is where the fraudster impersonates someone you trust, such as a family member, a government official, or even the credit union. The phone channel continues to capture the highest dollar loss amount per person. These imposter phone calls use caller ID spoofing to make it appear like the call is coming from a government agency or a legitimate business like Beehive. It is frustrating to me just how easy it is for someone to deliberately falsify Beehive's 208-656-1000 number and have it transmitted to your caller ID display. I was recently informed by a friend that it was easy to identify an imposter phone call when the Social Security office phone number displayed late on a Saturday night. We laughed about this and the timing of the phone call. However, it might be difficult to spot if on a random Thursday afternoon, the caller ID spoofing identifies Beehive Credit Union as the caller on your ID display, and the call opens with, "Hey, this is John from Beehive. I'm seeing some possible fraudulent activity on your card. Do you have time to verify some recent purchases with me?" I want you to know the credit union advises you to inform any caller saying they're from Beehive that you're going to hang up and call the credit union back on its main line. This will not offend us. In fact, the opposite is true. We'll be delighted you're protecting yourself and taking correct measures to verify the phone call is legitimately from a Beehive employee. So don't hesitate to close out the phone call and start a fresh conversation, one where you call us. While the imposter scam phone calls are the biggest money-making channel for fraudsters, the FTC reported imposter texts and imposter emails are still gathering billions in stolen loan dollars every year. Breaking FTC data down by state, Idaho's top fraud subcategories are business imposters #1 and government imposters #3. A couple weeks ago, I received a text posing as my local school district, trying to capture data, reminding me that imposters will try and exploit any relationship to gain my trust and gain access to my data. Another important key data piece from the FTC report is that younger people lose more money more often. People aged 20 to 29 reported losing money more often than people over the age of 70. Yesterday, an article published in the Wall Street Journal highlighted 2 recent studies of Instagram users between the ages of 16 and 29. These studies report the youngest generation experience high rates of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This fear of missing out is linked to anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances. But the 2 studies note it is also a big phishing vulnerability for young adults, meaning individuals under the age of 29 are more likely to act quickly and act improperly on a financial scam because of the fear of missing out. This might be the too good to be true price for the Stanley Tumbler on a social media post, where their card information is captured and exploited by a deceitful group, or it plays right into the hands of an imposter on a phone call whose scam relies on a sense of urgency to act, to avoid punishment. Recently, a college-age acquaintance of mine received an imposter phone call with the claim that they were the FBI. He was informed he needed to act fast to solve the problem. In a very short time, this individual sent money to these criminals to resolve the threat. When asked about the encounter, he responded that he knew better, but he did not take the time to think through the situation. The fear drove the speed of his response. The FTC reports individuals in their 20s who reported fraud in 2024, 44% of them lost money to a scam, whereas the number was 21% for individuals in their 80s. In fact, each decade of age gave fewer reports of loss accompanying their fraud stories. Our young family members and friends need to understand and identify financial scams as much as the grandparents and the older generations in our lives. Returning to the FTC report, the news headlines of the report stated these two findings. The 2024 total loss was 25% higher than 2023, and the individual dollar losses were a lot higher in 2024 than in 2023. Why? Why is the dollar loss growing by such a large percentage? I'm often asked what the biggest impact artificial intelligence is having on the credit union. In fact, I was just asked this question during a lunch today at a Chamber of Commerce event. I have a two-part answer. The first part is always positive and exciting and addresses the credit union as a business entity. It covers the speed and power and efficiencies Beehive is experiencing in its tools from AI. The second answer has a different mood. It addresses the credit union as a group of people, members who in their daily lives are now being bombarded with scams strengthened by AI. AI acts like an anabolic steroid. When used by bad actors behind today's scams, AI increases the quantity of nefarious solicitations and the quality of those solicitations. AI is breathing new life into scams that have existed for the past 20 years. AI takes out the clumsiness and awkwardness out of the intercept, the redirect, the bypass that the fraudster must accomplish in order to gain access to someone's wallet. AI gathers and delivers to the scammer a much more complete profile of their victim. The imposter can then drop these kernels of information during the call to build quick trust and build to a larger context of action by the individual. For example, in the FBI imposter call scenario, the scammer checked at least 3 facts about the victim's life. The scammer identified his enrollment at BYU, Idaho, named the state his fiance was living in, which was at the time 1,500 miles away, and confirmed her name. The old method was, you have a long-lost relative in Nigeria. The new AI method allows scammers to drop enough kernels of true information about the victim during the phone call, in the text, or in the email to establish just enough legitimacy to get their target swept up in the rush and urgency to fix the problem. Fix the unpaid taxes with the IRS. Fix the missed jury duty with law enforcement, or fix the possible fraudulent charges on their credit card. These scams move quickly from area to area and change just enough to seem new. For example, in neighboring Washington state, a credit union discovered recently a scam where the fraudsters used their credit union logo on letters, informing the members in the area to withdraw funds and deposit the money into Bitcoin ATM to keep their deposits safe. A credit union in the Midwest recently experienced a scam where texts were sent out mimicking the credit union and claiming for fraud prevention, members needed to click on an embedded link and input their online banking credentials. A credit in Milwaukee just reported texts were sent out disguised as being from their institution and stating the member needed to confirm or deny a recent purchase on their card. The process required online banking credentials be submitted. And lastly, out here west, recently a credit union reported phone calls where the imposter caller ID spoofed them, placing calls to people in their area. The scammers gave the first 4 numbers of their credit card and asked the victim to verify or rather give them, the remaining numbers on the card along with the expiration date and 3-digit security code on the back. If a credit union member followed the stranger or the imposter's instructions on any of the above examples, there is only one last layer of defense a credit union has to help. In the first example, a teller will ask you the purpose behind a large cash withdrawal. Scammers know this and will tell you to lie to the credit union. They coach the victim, and the lie comes in many forms, but many sound like this. The court issued a gag order, and so you can't tell the credit union where the money is going. If you are instructed on the phone to lie about the purpose, it is a scam. In the second and third examples, the criminals will trigger a required security code to access the online banking credentials, as they will attempt to log in from an unapproved device somewhere. The security code will come to the member, most likely via text, with a message. Beehive's message reads this: "Stop. A Beehive employee will never ask for this code over the phone or text. Do not share with anyone. If this code wasn't requested, contact us immediately." Never give a security code to anyone for any reason. In the fourth example, a text will be sent to your phone because the scammer will most likely use your card information at a location that triggers a fraud warning. The text will ask you if you are making the purchase. The stranger, the imposter, will tell you to respond with a Y for yes. Never respond yes to a text about a card purchase you are not physically making yourself. If someone tells you to do so, it is a scam. Once this last layer of defense is breached, the victim will become a statistic for the FTC to report the following March. Please educate those you love about financial scams, imposters, their lies, and the hooks they use to ensnare their prey. Speaking on behalf of all Beehive team members, we love the members of Beehive Federal Credit Union. We call you our members. If you have questions, please reach out to us. We want to keep you safe. Thank you for being a member of Beehive, and thank you again for listening to Beehive's 2025 annual meeting.
Thank you, Craig. 2024 was a challenging year for all of us here at Beehive. With a very uncertain economic atmosphere and extremely fast and high inflation, we have all experienced challenging money management issues. Beehive was not alone in financial encounters facing many other financial institutions. Fortunately, we had the foresight to recognize early the challenges well before it happened and before it became a dismal situation. In early 2024, the board of directors and the management team decided early to slow down our growth. We chose to be very cautious in lending while allowing our cash deposits to catch up to a stabilizing level. Unlike some other financial institutions, our liquidity level slowly began to become healthy again. At the start of the 2025 year, our growth from last year was slow, but our financial stabilization looks much better. We will now begin to grow again, but not at the rapid pace we did grow in the last 5 years. We ended the year with $604 million in assets. We also ended with over 33,000 members. Being a credit union with assets greater than $500 million, we are scrutinized more in our business practices by the NCUA examination. We went through a very comprehensive audit in late 2024 and came out with very encouraging results. The board understands one thing very well, and that is we are committed to protecting all of our members' financial investments. We do not take this responsibility lightly, and we are honored in representing you, our members. As you all know from your interactions with Beehive, there's something differentiating us from other credit unions and banks. Beehive's core competency is the service our employees provide to each of you. This philosophy is how you are treated by the employees who are more than happy to help you with your needs. We want to thank the staff for not only what they do, but more importantly, how they do it. The board, the executive team, the supervisory committee, and employees are extremely competent in performing all of their responsibilities. And I'd like to also give a word of caution about fraud, just a very easy solution. If anyone calls you on the telephone, texts you with an email, and texts you and gives you an email, don't give them any financial information over any of those three things. I've always considered email, whatever I say on an email, 1 million people are going to read this, and that can possibly happen. So all you have to do is, if you make the call, that's different. And if you make the call to Beehive, that's different. But if anyone calls you, emails you, or texts you, you give them no information whatsoever. We want to thank all of you again for helping us be an exceptional financial institution. We're continually looking forward to improve and offer services for you. Our number one concern before making any decisions is how it affects you, the member. And we wish all of you a very successful and safe upcoming year. Now, the Board of Directors of the Credit Union has no unfinished business. Do any members know of any unfinished business? Seeing none, the Board of Directors has no new business to conduct at this annual meeting. Are there any members who would like to introduce any new business at this time? Seeing none, we will now ask Doug Conway, the Supervisory Committee, again to come and announce the results of the Board of Direction election.
Supervisory Committee met earlier today to review the voting results. We appreciate all those that participated in the voting process. I can assure you that the votes were tallied and verified, and the voting was fair. Those who received the most votes are Kurt Gifford and Thane Robinson. Congratulations to these candidates.
Thank you, Doug. I'd now entertain a motion to destroy all the ballots in both paper and electronic form, if there is any.
Tim Kershaw, I move that we destroy the ballot.
Tim Kershaw with the motion. Is there a second?
Jake Denning, second.
Jake Denning with a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. All the business reports and activities of the 65th annual meeting have been completed. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Jake Denning, motion to adjourn.
Jake Denning with a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Darrell Fouts with a second.
Darrell Fouts with a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I want to thank everyone, especially our members, for being such good members. And we want to thank our employees, especially, for the service that they give them. Thank you all, and have a great year.